8 years ago, I was contacted by a parent of a child who was facing prosecution in adult criminal court. She and I decided to launch the campaign as a response to many of the laws that had passed around the country in the previous decade. We felt that there was no national effort to push back on these kinds of laws, so we founded the campaign. Our mission is to end the practice of trying, sentencing, and incarcerating children in the adult criminal justice system. One of our core values is to work with young people and their families who've been directly affected so that they are at the table leading and driving reforms. They have the expertise, they know what the solutions are, and they're the most credible messengers to the public and policymakers on this issue. The juvenile court was founded in 1899 to create a separate justice system for young people because at that time young people were routinely placed in adult jails and prisons. Only a small handful of young people were ever sent to the adult criminal court, and that was the case for nearly 100 years until the mid-1990s. At that time, there were a number of high-profile cases in juvenile justice, and there was an uptick in juvenile crime. So 47 states passed laws to make it easier to try young people in adult criminal court. There's no research that shows that trying young people in adult criminal court actually decreases crime. In fact, all the research shows that when you try young people in adult criminal court, you greatly increase the likelihood that those young people will reoffend. This research has been conducted by the U.S. Department of Justice, the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and numerous universities, all of them saying the same thing. So when policymakers pass laws to make it easier to try kids in adult court, they didn't have the benefit of this research. Now we have this research. This research shows these policies don't work, and as a result, many states are moving in the direction of changing these kinds of laws. It's really important that we treat kids as kids, especially when it comes to the justice system. We should do everything we can to keep young people out of the justice system as much as possible. And if the courts have to get involved, we would rather keep kids in the juvenile justice system rather than the adult criminal justice system. In the juvenile justice system, young people will have a greater chance of access to rehabilitative treatment and services, education, counseling, and other opportunities that will help them turn their lives around. By contrast, the adult criminal justice system offers none of those kinds of opportunities and therefore increases the likelihood that those young people will reoffend again. We've seen changes in many states around the country. This past summer, the National Conference of State Legislatures issued a report showing changes in more than half the states, led by lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, and signed into law by governors of both major parties. What we've seen are changes that increase the age of juvenile court jurisdiction to age 18. We've seen laws change that give judges, not prosecutors, more discretion on whether or not to place young people in adult criminal court. And we've also seen changes removing young people from the dangers of adult jails and prisons. Some of the states that I'd highlight would be a state like Connecticut that has made sweeping reforms in the last decade, particularly removing 16 and 17-year-olds from automatic prosecution in adult criminal court. There are other states like Illinois and Colorado that have given juvenile court judges more discretion on whether or not to place young people in adult criminal court. And we've seen changes in states like Virginia, Oregon, and Texas that have removed young people from the dangers of adult jails. The federal government plays a very limited but still very important role in juvenile justice. The main federal law, the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act, provides states with resources to meet some minimum standards. We're working to elevate those standards to eliminate a loophole in the law that allows for young people to be placed in adult jails. We hope that the federal statute can help to increase the likelihood that young people will stay in the juvenile justice system as well.